Woo! What a morning here. Bitcoin pumped to $108,000 in a blink of an eye, but the Senate in the background is doing some major moves in their bid to control the crypto industry moving forward. Some major things are happening on the Senate Hill right now, and New York has basically doomed itself with the latest election. We're going to get into all this and more on the show here. We got my man Isaac back from testing stuff.
How's it going?
Yeah. So did you have to run a really long time? Like, how was yesterday?
Okay, yesterday it was kind of fun. Besides the fact that it wasn't me, but there's a bunch of people getting like yelled at, and they're like completely destroyed because they weren't listening.
Good for you. Getting yelled at is good for you. We got a great show. We got lots of news to go over. I will see, so I did take some of Isaac's advice. I put in a call this morning for short on Bitcoin at about $107,800, right about. Isaac, I ended up closing a little bit of this trade down in this region. This is a short on Bitcoin. I don't like shorting Bitcoin in bull markets, but honestly, I had to take a little swing. It worked out pretty good. Stop loss is protected there just as I go through the news in case we do start pumping back to the upside. These volume nodes are very powerful if you are trading though. Now you can see the main volume node here. Basically just a well-defined kind of breakout range. You guys just watch BitLab Academy talking about that mega bull gateway being once we break above $110,000. That's what I was talking with Mr. Kelly this morning about. But honestly, the charts are looking bullish as all get out. This short is very short-lived, and I'm not going to be able to ride this all the way down to 70K or anything amazing like that. More so, the juice is on the longs right now. Just had to take a little stab at that as a little bit of a hedge just in case. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Crypto Stevo, DeFi, Crypto and Airdrops, arguing with people. You know what? XRP is going to pump to 500 cents in the next few years here. So XR people are going to make a little bit of money. I could say that. And you know what? If you have $100 million in XRP, you're probably going to turn that into $200 million. But it's not the most bullish crypto out there, in my humble opinion. Saw the argument going on in the Discover Crypto show here in the chat. Man, people are just like, I understand upside potential for it, but there's a lot of psyoping going on in crypto, and that's where the blockchain basement comes to weed through all of that noise. Now, make sure you are following me on Twitter at Druth Crypto, and then Isaac is at Isaac Does Crypto. Where is he? He's shown as AA Crypto here. Isaac Does Crypto. Sure. Also, I really think that I'm gonna have a chance to go see Metallica on my trip out to Denver very shortly. So I'm very excited about that. Haven't ever seen Metallica live. I've made a lot of music, and a lot of people compared my old band to like if Metallica was a hybrid of Pantera. I am very excited to see Metallica. Let me know in the chat, is Metallica the greatest metal band, rock band of all time? And if not, who is? I mean, they're up there in my mind as far as the greatest of the greats there. I am very interested in it. Zach Nasty thinks it's lame. I'm a metalhead. H-bar down. I used to sing for heavy metal for about 10-15 years. I was a lead singer for a heavy metal band and opened for like Slipknot and the likes of that. Did a lot of things in my life, and you know what? Chasing your dreams, I think is something that, you hear people say, like, go chase your dreams. I've done it over and over again. And here I live the dream out of, being able to cover macro markets, get into trading, and really get into the process of printing my own tether, because if the Federal Reserve can do it, sure as hell I can do it as well. So got to get on the bandwagon. Seen Pantera live 5 times. Queen is a good one. Queen is a great band. You know what? Here, I'm going to give them, you know what, chat? I'm going to give them I'm going to give this is the last song that I made. And when I'm going back to Denver, I was asking the bandmates if I could finish off an album that we had left behind here. The last band that I was in was 2 Minutes Darker, and there's actually an entire album that I left behind. I didn't finish. I'll give you guys this link. For people that don't know that I'm in heavy, I'm a heavy metal person. So there you go. I'll pin this to the chat. This is what I used to do before I got into crypto and all that stuff. That's what I used to do. So give it a like. Just chase your dreams. It is, I know it's cliche to say, but honestly, guys, you can accomplish some crazy, crazy stuff if you put your mind to it and focus in. Now, someone else that's putting their mind to absolutely rocking the markets back and forth is Donald J. Trump, the KOL from hell, coming out saying that he's started interviewing candidates to replace the federal chair, Jerome Powell. Now, this kind of chaotic, replacing Jerome Powell, but honestly, there's been some clear political intentions behind the Federal Reserve and his animosity towards Donald J. Trump. And these are two opposing forces within the kind of macro system of money that are really at this kind of locked horns moment. Very, very interesting to see this. Oh, looks like we got some metalheads. Queen is gay. I mean, Freddie Mercury was gay, right? Doesn't mean he wasn't like an incredible singer. Freddie Mercury was absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome at singing. So now Trump, he's talking about replacing Jerome Powell. And we also had Trump warning at the NATO summit in Hague that the ceasefire may not hold. Someday it could maybe start again soon. President, at the end of the conflict, the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure, but it's been reported more and more that line of trucks that we kind of looked at the satellite imagery of when we originally had the bombing happen. I think it was like over the weekend. We saw the satellite imagery of a long line of trucks that were moving in and out of the Fordo nuclear development location.
Correct.
You are banned.
Happened.
Continue.
Did we just was that a bunker buster you just dropped? So we're gonna see if Israel decides to re-up the ante and go after Iran again in relation to the potential of those product movements. We're going to keep an eye on this. Things are developing, but regardless of all that, JP Morgan, traders on Wall Street, traders within, the general vibe of crypto, they're saying that it's time to get bowled up again. And I don't understand why they keep using this same guys. Do you recognize this guy? He was on yesterday. They keep using his picture over and over again.
Who knows? Maybe he's actually behind everything and they're just using him as a
well, JPM and the traders on Wall Street are getting bowled up again. I do wonder what the S&P 500 is looking like right now. First, let's take a look at some just general charts here. Here's Bitcoin with a massive, massive move up. And honestly, oh God, I might have to get out of that short. We're printing a green dot on the downside. We got the trigger wave ahead of it. Oh boy. I'm in danger.
I told you.
I mean, not really. The stop loss is well in profit already. I already took some profits on Isaac,
Thank you.
About 107.1. But the bulls are back in charge, and we are printing this green dot on the 15-minute. This is the general move for Bitcoin. It's just been very, very aggressive. Left those levels from yesterday behind by a long shot. And now, what I'm having to look at and back up the charts to is the POC in this current range. And let's take a look at that as a family together here. So let's lower this down. What is going on with this? I'm going to delete both of these. All right. So now we got this current range, the POC coming in right at about 105.5. I put this in the Discover Investments Group Discord this morning. Early morning, I also gave the call on the scalp short this morning and also highlighted the extreme danger of shorting just this nasty, nasty uptrend. But trade's already in a safe spot, and if we do roll over back down into this POC, that's going to be a big, big move. But the main spot of control here that we got to watch, the point of control for our current range is sitting at about $105,500 as things sit for everyone that's out there trading, getting nasty with it on the charts. Now, GameStop is going to raise $450 million with zero interest notes, bringing the total to $2.7 billion in plans to allocate the funds to Bitcoin in a reserve asset. This is absolutely insane to see GameStop getting ready for this. And I don't think the price of their stock is experiencing a major uptrend from all of this bullish movement. It's like, you know, Isaac, is GameStop like not really the squeeze anymore, right? Like it was almost like a meme stock that we saw go nuts. So you think it's kind of played out at this point?
Turned into a meme stock. It's kind of played out. I'm not saying the company's played out, but the people going to the stores, I guess you could say the company's played out. It's not the same as it used to be. Going as a kid, way younger than I am now, and going there and trying to buy new games or sell some games so you could get something new. You don't see anybody in GameStops anymore. It's kind of like turning into like the Blockbuster type of thing of the gaming side.
Yeah.
So that's my little
Sack Nasty in the chat. Have you heard of the blood farts? Isaac, I think you know what to do with this. I mean, you're on your way into artillery.
So you're gonna might as well.
You know what to do, baby.
Where are you at, you
know what
bastard? I'm gonna find you. There you are, you bastard. You're the best, Sack Nasty, but you know what else is better than that?
You are banned!
Facts. Now, let's see here. The liquidity's been wiped out. So we wiped this out. A little extra juice there. There is still a stack here, but it is very thick to the upside. Man, there's a bunch of idiots like me out here shorting. If you are shorting, you're in danger, but I got the stop loss in profit here, so whatever. Already took some profits off of it from this morning. It is what it is. Now let's go look at the S&P 500. I do want to look at the SPX and see where things are sitting. Are we getting ready to break that all-time high? Let's have a look. Bam. Ooh, God, that is getting close. Look at that.
Jesus.
Absolute chaos. You go from new bear market paradigm up to JPM and Wall Street getting bull horns on again. This thing is just going to have corrections and move continually up into the right as long as the system remains in place. It's going to take quite a bit to get the system out of place. And honestly, we're probably not going to see that in our lifetime because that would require quite a bit of physical removals. Now, GameStop, on the other hand, let's go check out. We got a couple actual stocks that I want to go check out. So I want to see GME. Let's go check out GME. Yeah, like what the hell? Okay, so the Treasury conversation's out. Price action is not there. This is the January 2021. Like this is where GameStop is almost like a meme stock that went absolutely bonkers. It pumped by 3,000%. And now it's been toiling. It is actually trying to, you know, something, if I'm looking at this, like that type of movement, actually might be this might be a pretty decent time for me. Maybe I should get some GameStop. Now I'll check out Circle. Did we get our Circle entry point? The next US dollar here. Oh my God, we are getting a pullback, baby. We are getting a pullback. Wait a minute. Hold up. Something is right. Okay. So we came back down. We filled this gap that was created, I think, about 2 or 3 days ago on Circle. I don't, you know what? This is actually a good entry point. This is a good comment too. Drew, we need to do a realistic XRP episode. And we could label it really hyperbolic to get people to watch. I really think that realism and understanding of how big market caps need to get for major pumps would be something very, very useful for the XRP community. Mr. Veteran Crypto. Veteran Crypto runs DeFi, crypto, and airdrops, a fantastic YouTube channel that works very, very hard on not only DeFi, but Vet has a great understanding of the different designs of blockchains, the different kind of institutional applications that we could see from each different blockchain to the next. And I really think you guys should give him a follow. I really think if anyone is in the chat that doesn't already follow Veteran Crypto, I think you're really doing yourself a disservice. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. They're at DeFi Crypto Airdrop on YouTube. They're the one with 48,200 subscribers on the channel. And this is a rekindling of an old channel that we really wanted to put to work and figure out all of the in and outs of DeFi and how to actively, constantly earn yield off of taking part in DeFi. I think if we combine the aspects of trading and the different ranges that we can develop in trading and apply those to the DeFi ecosystem, it's a recipe, a combination for deliciousness in constantly putting our money to work for us. So make sure to give him a follow. He's a great guy as well. Now we have Bitcoin buy pressure really starting to show that it's back in control. The count ratio model, when indicator reaches 34,000 points at 112K peak, is signaled an avalanche of profit taking from investors. Now we're seeing sellers take coins off the market for a profit. Now the metric has fallen to 216 points, indicating that profitable sales have almost disappeared, while the share of lost realized transactions has also increased. Simply put, after a massive selling at the top, sellers have stepped aside and buyers have taken their place, meaning that people are buying Bitcoin at lower levels and sharp price crashes shouldn't be expected. I think the sharp price crashes talking about, Bitcoin coming down to the 70K, 80K region once again. I think that's more reasonable as far as like something that is not really expected to happen. Colonel's bringing up, don't forget Rumble. That's a good point. I got to pull up my Rumble chat here. I'm just moving 100 miles a minute. We're doing live trades. We're doing all the things. Let's see here. I'm going to bring up Blockchain Basement on Rumble. Shout out to you, Colonels. You support the channel. You're a man of great wisdom and virtue. All right. So Metallica rocks, Queen Drew. My buddy Capone is very, very new to crypto and he's extremely hesitant. What advice can you give him? Be brutally honest. Just fucking buy Bitcoin. If you're very, very new to crypto, buy Bitcoin. Learn what crypto is first and foremost. The pros and cons of getting into crypto is chasing altcoins, expecting all-time highs to be reclaimed no matter what. I think when people get into crypto that are new to crypto, they go through all the different charts and they see, wow, if Algorand could pump back up to whatever all-time high it had in 2021, then I'll be this rich, right? And then they just start doing the equation in their mind and going after that. I think that just if you're brand new to crypto, Bitcoin is the easiest kind of buy that I could do. And then if you're new to crypto, you're going to have the barrier to entry. Someone's mentioned in the chat where you see cold custody and you're like, man, that sounds like rocket surgery. It's not. You can use one of the easiest cold storage wallets on the planet. And we have a link in the description. If this buddy is looking, Bitcoin and cold storage, man, Arculus cold storage. This is why I love this product so much, that it's super easy to use for people, especially people that are new. So, I think cold custody and just staying based, learning about, buying Bitcoin, easy gimme in this market. And then learning what the rest of the ecosystem really is, learning about Fed fund rates, how they interact with the markets. I think, that's going to take some time and you're not going to turn into this DeFi TVL genius overnight in crypto. And anyone that thinks that they are is going to get absolutely destroyed. So for the love of God, just be careful about it and take your time learning. And if you want to get into trading, start trading with a small amount of money. Go in there with an amount of money that you're willing to learn with and lose, because you know what? Trading is a resource in your mind where you can constantly apply it in really any market and make money off of, but you have to learn how to do it in an effective manner. You have to learn how to really take profits and move aggressively on the charts. You know what I mean? Because there is a lot of money to be made, but you have to be very, very focused. You make the money slowly and you protect it quickly. Now, speaking of people making money slowly, long-term holders are scooping up massive amounts of Bitcoin right now. Smart money knows where the true value, and it's not fiat, it's in digital gold. So Bitcoin long-term holder net position changes are moving up very, very aggressively. We saw this similar move right before we popped up from 57K all the way on up to $107,000 at the inauguration timeframe right there. I think that there is something to be said for this, and really, the $170,000 target for Bitcoin, I do feel is right on track right now. We are on track for that movement. It's just really about having the patience and the guts to make it to that level and making sure that you're taking profits along the way in altcoins, protecting your Bitcoin. I think that, there's enough avenues of taking loans against our Bitcoin while still being able to hold it. There's a lot of, I find a lot of value in that. And I think a lot of larger market managers, real estate agencies are going to figure that out along the way as well. So we're going to see the long-term holder metrics of Bitcoin simply just consistently increase over time. Now, with all that being said, Robinhood CEO came out and was talking about how crypto is going to interact with traditional markets. Let's have a listen to this.
I do think that crypto itself, there's two ways to look at it. One is a tradable asset like options, futures, and equities. The other is as a fundamental underlying technology.
Right.
And in the second lens, it's the next stage in evolution. We've gone from, paper and pencil, filing cabinet-based financial services to mainframe to on-premise, and then more recently cloud. Now, crypto is the next stage in that, where a lot of the business logic that we've required businesses to actually build is now shared infrastructure. So exchanges, lending pools, payment processors, all these things are replaced by software. So I think in the future, crypto technology will power trading and all sorts of financial services, including trading in stocks and other TradFi assets. So the two will fully merge. And I think I do.
See, that's some interesting stuff. The two systems are going to fully merge. It's not a kind of crypto winner take all type scenario. It's crypto getting woven into the existing infrastructure of money. And this is why we see the Grinch who stole alt season right now. It's because we have hybrid options and entry points like Circle, like Coin on Wall Street that really look like altcoins. And they're receiving, we're dealing with a more sophisticated Bitcoiner at this point. So, when again, I got to go back to that Rumble chat from Kernels. It's not about getting rich overnight. I know that there's a lot of, kind of highlights and, things on Twitter that will show it's so easy to do. It's not easy to get rich overnight. And honestly, it's very rare to get rich overnight on one of those micro cap projects. Really, it's all about staying focused, staying on the same path, and essentially not chasing. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Who was that? TLC that had that song?
I think so, yeah.
Don't go chasing
waterfalls.
We need that
That was TLC. That was TLC.
That was a good song,
That was
man.
a good song.
Crypto bros need to hear that song. All right, so now let's keep moving through all the metrics we got here. We got Bitcoin inflows to Binance have dropped to 5,700 Bitcoin. This is the lowest level since last bear market, folks, suggesting that sellers are gone. More data showing that strong hands are holding and buyers are taking control of the markets. A very, very good metric to see. Inflows to BTC into Binance in the yellow line here. And then you have the overall Bitcoin price. So things are calming down as far as jeeters. They've seemed to have jeeted all they can jeet. And we will see short-term shakeouts. We're going to have crazy announcements from Trump and the world as we know it. Won't be surprised to see if we see that Iranian movement happen again. Who remembers Bare Naked Ladies? You're too young for Bare Naked Ladies, aren't you, Isaac?
Correct.
Dude,
I am
that was a
too
good
young
band.
for Bare Naked Ladies, but not if it's outside of the band and music industry.
Oh my god. Crypto Glassworks, please don't go from heavy metal to TC. Dude, that's just who I is, bro.
I just said you could appreciate all types of music from all different types of genres, from
Come on,
every different,
man.
time
Alanis
frame,
Morissette.
okay?
Come
Come
on.
on. Mikael
on.
Jackson,
All
Wu-Tang
right.
Clan. Come on.
We got so much stuff to cover. This is something interesting to think about. So while this particular chart may be very bullish for Bitcoiners, right? We see the value of a gold mark in paper marks in Germany. Now, this is basically showing hyperinflation on an aggregate scale. And what we see is the movement of Bitcoin is going up in tandem with the money supply. And essentially, what I think we need to take into account is that if Bitcoin continues to just move in tandem with the money supply, and we go into this hyperinflationary type environment over the next 20 years in our markets, yeah, it'll raise the price of Bitcoin to Michael Saylor's $21 million target per coin. What is the cost of a slice of bread at that point? What is the cost of a home? You know, we want to see those prices not go absolutely ballistic. And hopefully I do see a calming in the real estate market while we have a traditional style of Bitcoin bull market. And then I can leverage those gains out of the crypto market to then buy a really nice house and set it up. And I'm not doing the renter thing. Not doing the renter thing. Not interested. Lamb of God, my man. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Coolio. See, we're going down nostalgia lane with these names here. You guys are bringing me back. You know, every day I listen to the Doom Eternal soundtrack as well. That's the workout album for me. It's been that way for quite some time. Now, President Trump's Truth Social, a $4 billion organization, has now officially filed for that Bitcoin ETF on the New York Stock Exchange. Trump's really trying to get integrated with all things Bitcoin, connection into TradFi, rolling out his own stable coin through World Liberty Fi. This is a good question, though. While all this is happening, it seems like Bitcoin just is an immovable object. Reich now asked me on Twitter, what would be the best day to have a Bitcoin recurring buy during the week? I know some stuff happens during the weekend and there are sell-offs. So would Sunday be the best day? And you know what? If recurring buys are something that you like utilizing, I personally would be choosing Sundays. I'd be choosing Sundays for those moments because oftentimes the Chinese will take control of the charts while Wall Street's asleep, reset the prices as low as it can go in that short term with their dumps, you know, those winter mute movements, and then the price just basically resets and moves back up to the upside when the tiny hats take back control on Monday. We see BlackRock and Howard Lutnick doing their hammer buys. So, yeah, I'd agree. Sunday is the day for that. If you're just doing recurring buys. And honestly, Isaac, you've seen the power of how fast things can move from one Sunday to the next, bro. Okay, let's look at. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Let's look at my liquidation levels.
All right. So Isaac, he had a good. All right. We saw. What was it like? It was like 104.
104 to these 149.
And you know, I leave Fridays alone for whatever superstitious reason. It's not like I saw some amazing, you know, TA that told me to leave that Friday alone. Isaac didn't. Okay.
Nope.
And he's out here learning how to trade.
Bull fucking send.
Bull send. And over the course of the weekend, conflicts pushed down the price of Bitcoin to about 98,000, 98,500 right here. Perfectly. I mean, what happened, Isaac? Just give us the rundown. Okay.
If you can't already tell that I put in a long at 104 and it went down to $98,000, I think, you know, I got liquidated, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's just trading fees. They're not trading fees. What do you always say?
What?
Learning funds. We're going to call it learning funds.
Learning funds. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll take the loss. You know, the only thing I hate the most is the fact that it went up to 108 today after hitting my liquidation level perfectly. So CZ and the rest of the people who watch me trade Bitcoin,
they got him.
I'll be back. I'm coming for your next time. But
well, you know what's jacked up is I called you at the store. I was out there shopping and I was like, bro, it's coming. And you're like, I know it's coming, but
I was too far gone.
What I did is I put a tiny trade. Like I put like $50 on 25X at 98. And so I got your tuition money refilled anyways. And I'm going to keep you on the learning trade of this because I'm really emphasizing this. If we can learn the charts and learn how to mitigate risk, it's a constant way to make money. So you're getting filled back up. I don't care. I refilled it. I called you. I was like, it's happening. I'm YOLOing $50 at 25x. The bag's refilled. You're back. I push you back into the
I'm back
monster.
in the liquidation realms, chat. I'm here for it.
You know, and really when I'm out here trading, it's all to earn Tether to buy more Bitcoin. And this is why, is because both dollars and Bitcoin are created with computers, but one is created out of thin air by unelected bankers, aka Jerome Powell, and the other is a verifiable and decentralized way of backing money. Only one tool is to empower yourself in the digital age. Allocate wisely. So this is why I choose Bitcoin over leaving fiat around. It's because it got a fixed supply, 5% left to mine. There's a very small amount of Bitcoin left to mine on the planet, and controls open, transparent, decentralized, other than the US dollar, which has no cap and supply. 30% of all dollars created. This is actually a very low estimate. It's over 50% created since 2020 and controlled by a group of unelected bankers, which happen to be Democrats. So that's why we also have Jerome Powell coming out. He's trying to say that crypto stablecoin industry is now matured and become more mainstream. So they're trying to lean into crypto. They know it's going to be a thing. But it is a very, very old system of central banking that Bitcoin poses a threat to. So this battle, this to and from, it's going to take a lot of legislation, and that legislation is happening live. Let's go check this out. We're still doing decent on this short. You know, I'm just going to do some thinking out loud here. So this is the POC that's roughly about the 105.5. Is this it's also within this current flag here. We're losing this volume node. Might be getting a little bit too greedy with this take profit zone. We'll see. The take profit zone is basically this pump to peak moment. A little bit of chop and resistance support right there. So we'll see if I'm able to snag that in the short term. Having some fun. Trade is safe. No big deal. Learning to print my own. You know, it's learning by Frankie Candles over those years really has set me up for, you know, when you are able to trade on the market constantly, there's always a trade to be made. It's just about having patience to find it. So, you know, we have this stuff coming out the Federal Reserve. Honestly, no one cared. You know, this isn't what drove the price of Bitcoin up. It's short-term sellers exhausted, long-term holders increasing their positions. They're increasing their bags through these pullbacks and the macroeconomic uncertainty. And now we have organizations out of Japan. Let's see here. This is the Bank of International Settlements, actually. Let's take a look at this. I don't know if I want to translate this. I just want to kind of talk about what he said, because I listened to it. He's explaining how tokenized platforms with central bank reserves, commercial bank money, and government bonds can underpin the next generation of monetary and financial systems. In my opinion, this can be translated to, hey, we have a new way to print money and to back the current fiat system by backing it with stable coins and tokenizing assets. Let's go ahead and do that so the house of cards doesn't collapse on our heads. Now, if this is an ethos conversation, because Bitcoin has that strong hardcore ethos of a fixed supply and the potential to bring monetary responsibility back to a system that has been so far gone for so long, it makes my Satoshi, the bar of Satoshi, and me kind of roll over in Satoshi's metaphorical grave here, because Bitcoin was designed to counteract this system, and now it's being hybridized and put into the existing system. And it's kind of a dual natured problem, because like products like Ondo, products in the RWA sector, Chainlink, they're probably going to benefit very greatly by this. But you know what? It is what it is. Sui has been one of Crypto Stevo's. I'm surprised that Crypto Stevo has a Sui or a disappointment. He's very, very good. He's talking about Bitcoin Cash has flipped Sui. Token unlocks are killing Sui. Oh God, did Sui up the token unlock game? Remember that was what has been like kind of in the back of my mind on Sui this whole time, is the token unlocks potentially going out of hand. I wonder if let's go look at SWE. Let's go look at SWE. Let's check SWE out. Let's go here. Give me sidetrack, but for good reason. 270. Oh, those unlocks are starting to pick up here. Because they should be at a total of 5 billion by the end of this year. We're already at 3.3. You know, but this is where things get weird for me, is that it's up to network security on if it's going to be 5 billion circulating or 10 billion. That's some devil in the details on SWE that I keep in the back of my mind pretty consistently now. Whew, Isaac, God, this trade is all. Maybe we should let the chat decide. Do I just kill this thing? We got an old school shelf. It's trying to bounce off this volume node here. Let me know, chat. Chat, do we kill it? Do we kill it and just walk away with the rest of this gain? I'll let you guys decide as I go through. Ooh, there you go. We got the poll in.
Yeah,
we'll give it 5 minutes. Now, Trump came out. Trump talking about Jerome Powell. Let's have a listen to this chaos. It's on CNN. Make sure the volume's nice and high. Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. You were criticizing
Where are you from?
Bloomberg News.
Oh, Bloomberg. That's wonderful.
You were criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair before coming to this summit.
Yeah, I think he's terrible.
I was wondering if
I think he's terrible.
you've begun interviewing different candidates for the Fed pick.
Yeah, I know within 3 or 4 people who are going to pick. I mean, he goes up pretty soon, fortunately, because I think he's terrible. We have no inflation. We have a tremendous economy. Hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is pouring in. Factories are being built because they don't want to pay the tariffs, so they're building them all over the country. I think we're close to $15 trillion. I told you 5.1 trillion from the Middle East alone, but of investment money coming in. There's never been anything like that in the history of our country. But we have no inflation. And we have borrowing because Biden, stupidly, they did short-term debt. So we have borrowing coming up. And, you know, we'll go 10 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, but we'll go a long period of time when we do the debt. And because of him, because of this guy, we will have to pay for years. We'll be paying for him. And I said to him, listen,
that's the devil in the details here. So Jerome Powell is keeping the interest rates where they're at, while the timeline for the United States is shortening, where they have to refinance over $9 trillion of debt. If they have to do it at the current interest rates, it's going to take decades to pay this off. That's very, very key.
there's no inflation. He says, but maybe there'll be some. That's true. I said, if there is some, what you do is raise the rate. I'm okay with that. You raise the rate in 2 years from now or a year from now. But because the rate's high, we have to pay more for debt. It's pretty equal. In other words, if it's 4%, it's 4%. If you drop it a point, you'll pay 3%. So it's fairly equal, not necessarily, but fairly equal. So we're going to end up paying maybe 2 points or 3 points more.
So I do like how Trump has no filter, and he just said the exact problem right there. This is a great question. This is a great question. If Israel attacks Ukraine, whose side does the United States take? What say you, Isaac?
Jesus, that's a question, all right.
It's a great comparison. Have you seen the Ukrainian? You know, I mean, there's
Honestly,
a lot of opposing.
Honestly, I think because Trump's already pissed off at Israel, I think he would pull out of that whole conflict if two people were allied with like start fighting each other. Either he's going to try to settle it right away, or he's just going to pull out and say, "I tried Israel, I tried Ukraine. Y'all keep doing this." I mean, just take a look at the ceasefire. He's like, "Oh, we did this. I finished the World War III in 12 days." And then an hour later, within the ceasefire, not even, they start fighting again.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I don't know.
I mean, I think Zalinsky's trying to get on Trump's good side. It looks like, and this is funny, I just lost $10,000 on Poly Market. This Weiss is posting here, but it was a bet on if Zalinsky would wear a suit again. Zalinsky has been seen wearing a suit. This is at the NATO conference. And you can't see this little man here yet. We'll go full screen so we can find him in the crowd here. Zelensky decided to put on a suit. Maybe he's trying to get in better terms with Trump, because they're like, why in the hell are you not in a suit? There he is.
There he is.
Look at him.
Look at that
He's
little guy.
dressed up. He's all dressed up, trying to shill the Ukraine into NATO. Terrible idea.
Also wanna
Terrible.
give a little shout out here to Capone over on Rumble. Shout out to Colonels, and I just bought his first $100 in Bitcoin thanks to the advice that he gives and following the channel, and he's now watching live.
Cool. Yeah. I
Good
mean,
job,
just don't
man.
get lost in the sea of altcoins too fast, man. You know, and we're going to see like next cycle. Right now, what we have is like RWAs and like all this DeFi stuff happening. And it's pretty convoluted in the weeds. And there's good gains to be made if you put your money in the right ecosystem. It's very, very hard to find that right ecosystem, and you have to find it well ahead of time. Next ecosystem, I'll say this right now. We're going to see, you know, potentially like we've heard the rumblings of decentralized science so far. But I really think that there's going to be some crypto application to nanotechnologies. Nanotechnologies in and of themselves on Wall Street are going to be very, very good next cycle, I feel like. But just looking ahead, you know, good on you for picking up your first little bag of Bitcoin, man. That's the whole beginning of the journey here. This is a hard call. I think that Trump would take Bibi's side. If he had to choose between Bibi and Zalinsky, I think he would go with Bibi. That's just me. DZ, who do you think? Yeah, you think so? All right. DZ agrees with me. DZ is usually pretty correct about most things, you know, most things. So Senate Banking Committee has now set up a plan for crypto market rules. This has come out from Decrypt. So we have a lot of movements on the Senate floor and within senators themselves, setting up the frameworks for crypto as the stablecoin bill, the Genius Act, heads to the House. The Senate is shifting to crypto market structure at large. So these are the frameworks of how the system as we know it is going to handle this massive inflow of stable coins, how it's going to handle the massive inflow of liquidity in crypto. And they want to leverage it to the best of their ability. And I put this very, very simply, is that increase of stable coins and the rails for stable coins being accepted is going to be leveraged by the Treasury, not the Federal Reserve, so that the Treasury can integrate with stable coins and use stable coins and stablecoin firms to buy out Treasury bills and keep the scam of fiat currency going for even longer than we ever expected. So that is something in the background. And you know what, Percent, he's not shy about it. Scott Percent of the U.S. Treasury says that the U.S. will never default on its national debt, probably because he knows that they've designed a new mechanism of printing to the moon and becoming unstoppable. Now, Visa sees this as well. They've been embracing stable coins. This is Ryan McKinney of Visa. This is the CEO of Visa talking about stable coins.
Embracing and building for years, preparing for this moment. The Genius Act has now passed the Senate, as you know, and is expected to pass the House. I think that'll give regulatory clarity to stable coins. And we've been embracing stable coins. We've been enabling people to issue Visa credentials on top of stable coins. We've been modernizing our own settlement infrastructure with stable coins. And we have a whole host of innovations that we plan to deploy around the world embracing stable coins.
And he knows what they're doing on the Senate Hill right now is opening up the guide rails for them to utilize these things. And it's a whole nother realm of liquidity that they can snatch from retail. So the SEC has set up a task force meeting with the New York Stock Exchange to discuss this crypto regulation approach. This is where the Ondo, the kind of plume RWA plays coming into focus here. And there is something being rumbled about in terms of Ondo that I think is a big, big deal. I think that we touched on this yesterday, but Ondo and Coinbase are set up to tap into the next Web3 trend of on-chain stock trading. And I think, this graph of Circle and Coin, I think are enticing a lot. Like, look at me. Now, I usually dislike looking at Wall Street picks at all, but I'm seeing something very, very new and very big happen to Wall Street. And this is crypto adjacent stock entries producing massive, massive upside. And that in tandem with the idea that we are dealing with a more sophisticated Bitcoiner and that regulatory clarity is here, I think that this is going to be something very, very interesting to see coming down the railways here. So seeing this is Katie Wheeler. She is in partnership with Ondo Finance, previous Circle and BlackRock. She's kind of connected. give her a follow, may as well. Highlighting that this is coming. The Ondo representation and tokenizing of Wall Street stocks looks like it's actually going to be rolled out on Coinbase, which is a big effing deal in my personal humble opinion. Also in New York, we got to cover this because this is absolutely insane. So New York has chosen their new mayor. Andrew Cuomo conceded to Democrat primary for the mayor of New York City in the socialist Muslim Zohran Mamdani. And here is Zohran talking about how he's going to approach different problems that are going on within New York. Let's have a listen to this.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zohran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will redirect city funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores, whose mission is lower prices, not price gouging.
Why couldn't they get a better mic for this guy? Do you hear the blood? He's like,
Yeah, welcome to communism, chat.
Having to pay property taxes or rent, and we'll pass on those savings to you.
sure you will. Oh my God. So they're going to pass off all the savings to the consumer, right? City-owned grocery stores. If New York wasn't cooked already, I think we might as well call it on the barbecue at this point.
Look at that face that he's making right now. Look at those eyes. That just screams communism.
Oh my God, bro.
He's
This
like,
is the
"Oh, you're
private
falling for
sector.
it."
If you can just let the private sector compete, that's where you get actual savings, not from government mandated price controls. That is so retarded to see this going down. It is the current situation at hand, though. Just had to highlight it. It is what it is. And the New York Stock Exchange, they're rolling out this, tokenization, working with crypto. But on the other hand, the mayor of New York setting up socialist grocery stores in the background. So absolutely crazy. And Cynthia Loomis, she doesn't get enough credit. Honestly, I wish a lot more people would acknowledge who Cynthia Loomis is. This is her senator out of Wyoming. Just highlighting that the Genius Act is likely to pass within. It's getting a lot of bipartisan support, and it's probably coming. And with that, you know what? We're going to see a absolute bum rush of stable coins, a bunch of new type of stable coins. And I did see another stable coin is coming up here. Flashnet is going to launch its first fully regulated Bitcoin stable coin. It's called USDB, issued by Braille with Magic Eden as its distribution partner. Looks like they're trying to set it up to back these stable coins with Bitcoin. It's a very interesting move. Bitcoin, it's becoming less and less volatile, but there is still a good degree of volatility to Bitcoin. So very, very interesting. Don't be talking about bum Russian edgelord. Now, and I got that question from Colonels earlier in the show. Someone was new to crypto. Where do you start? I just, if I was just getting started, I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm learning about crypto at large for an entire cycle. Now, the reason why is because, oftentimes we see new altcoins that are kind of the shiniest thing in the room, and they really start to attract a lot of attention like Barachain did. Not just a few months ago, Barachain was a huge conversation piece in altcoins. It was very pumpy. There's a lot of FOMO and a lot of talk about it. ETH Denver, all the nerds were like, man, this is the next big thing. Here's what happened. TVL has fallen off of a cliff in Barachain. It was one of the hottest layer ones at the beginning of 2025. And despite this, the total value locked is now down 80% from all-time highs, only 5 months after the token generational event. Now, I just want to explain this simply. You will see new protocols and new options roll out in crypto all the damn time. And there's a basic migration that happens from people that basically farm airdrops and new ecosystems where you can get incentives for being pushed into that ecosystem. And then the whales get out and leave all the people that bought into Barachain, that were reading about the hype and the massive upside for Barachain on Twitter. They leave them behind in the dust. And that TVL, there's 20% of TVL left on that chain. Just don't get caught you know, following these chilly narratives. As you see the chain move up in price, you're going to see the narratives increase. You have to remain based and assume that they want nothing more than to rob you. If you operate from that mindset, I think you'll be a lot happier. We're in crypto to make money slowly and protect it quickly, not to YOLO into some new protocol that's being shilled to us on X and then be left in the dust when they actually leave and the party's over. So just be careful. Now, federal drilling the permits for federal drilling are rising under the Trump administration as U.S. oil production surged to new records. Love seeing this. Love seeing us actually explore more oil and gas here in the United States. We are sitting on over $50 trillion in untapped resources in the Gulf of America, and I hope to see that expand into that sector very, very soon. Also, nuclear sites in Iran, Trump's talking about that they're completely destroyed. This is a washout moment that might be something we got to keep an eye out for. If those movements did happen and it is verified from intelligence agencies in the United States, not from Bibi's intelligence agencies, then we could potentially see that conflict open back up again, which would give another washout to the market. So you just got to stay focused, stay based. Speaking of based, we got JD Vance coming out here with a big message for liberals.
In Washington, D.C., they have this thing where I think it means we're number one in Washington, D.C., but all the pink-haired people throw up the sign, and I think that means we're number one, right? I choose to take that as that symbol in Washington. But all kidding aside,
fucking, that was pretty sad. That was pretty savage. He just flips off the whole crowd. We're number one, right? That's what they mean here. Now, I think this next video is absolutely too unhinged to show on that. We did get
oh yeah.
Should I?
Why not?
I mean, you're going in.
Why not? This is just based off of me, guys.
Oh my god. Am I gonna get hold on? I might get you in trouble from where you're going by doing this.
How?
I might get you in trouble. I'm gonna hold off on this one.
Fine.
I'm gonna hold off. I don't want to get you in trouble with where you're heading. Okay. We're gonna calm down here.
We'll
now,
watch it after, Chad.
What's that?
You just show the people where they can find it.
Yeah. Okay. So you can find this. Let's go back here. Gotta make this smaller. You can go check this out on Invisidin at Quantum Altered X. Okay, this is posted. I'll give it a like.
I mean,
all right, fine. Yeah. We're doing it. This is my thoughts, not Isaac's.
I'm on the streets of America where Gen Z males are being drafted into the US Army to fight in the upcoming war against Iran.
This sissy generation don't know which damn bathroom to use, but by God, they'll know which trench to die in.
Come on, son, it's time for us to all go sacrifice ourselves for Israel.
While we stay here and keep running the banks, these brave sons of America are going to fight for us.
I need my emotional support, Faith, bro.
I'm actually exempt because my dad's a congressman, but like, I support the troops.
Is that Samuel Arms?
From the Hamptons.
Yeah. Wait, there's no Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, what's the password?
They didn't even let me bring my trauma journal. This is fascism.
Actually, it's they/them, Sergeant. Please respect my pronouns.
I don't want my children to die for Israel.
Do not be selfish. Your children will go to war for my people.
Oh my!
Oh shit!
Hold on.
My bad. I kind of want to look at it for a second.
Woo! All right, we'll see how long the channel lasts now. All right, so now nearly 20 people.
We might have to cut that out because I'm going in for secret clearance. So.
Oh my god, huh? Yeah. All right, well, after the show. All right, that's the value of you catching the show live right there.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so nearly 20 people have been injured by a single lightning strike in South Carolina and Lexington. That was absolutely crazy. You know what? Life can come at you quick. Nothing comes at you quicker than lightning. This is absolutely crazy. Isaac, when you see lightning going on,
like legit lightning?
Yeah, like legit
Okay.
lightning, and it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
bad. Do you get worried? Like, do you? Because like me, I'm kind of terrified of lightning.
No, it's actually pretty cool. I
You think
I
so?
find it pretty dope actually.
All right, all
I mean, you get to see this, of course, and also because I'm a Star Wars head. One of my favorite people is Emperor Palpatine, and he just sits there, unlimited power with his lightning bolts that come out of his fingertips. So
Yeah.
lightning's always
Well,
been pretty dope.
You know, you're more likely to get struck by lightning than to turn $5 into $1,000 on meme coins. So
Fair enough.
You know, let's go look at the grander markets here while we got a second. Bitcoin sitting here writhing around. You know, we'll see if it tries to pump back up and. Oh yeah, what was the decision? 59% said yes.
Yeah.
59% said yes. Okay. All right, fine. Let's go back here to the markets. So Pi token, my scam, is up by 17% today. I probably should dump that scam token, shouldn't I?
Probably.
Yeah. Nothing comes more quickly than me, Moxie says. Shout out to you. Maple Finance Syrup is up 21% on the week, 8% on the day. DEXE showing a 7% move. Bitcoin Cash for say still pumping. This is Insider VC Jump Town USA on incoming retail. Again, the real pressure on this thing is going to come in the 40 cent range, which I'm not going to be surprised if it hits it. Now the other losers, let's look at the main losers here. Virtuals on a big pullback, down 10% on the week, 11% on the day. Sky, this is the MakerDAO token, down a little bit. Sonic pulling back. Dog with Hat, up by the week, just barely. Potential Tau, you know, I want to get this Potential Tau token, but I'm a greedy son of a bee, and I want to get it under $300. Let's see if we can get this. See, I'm just looking. When I say these things, I'm trying to just highlight the decent projects that I see out there that are momentarily on sale. We did get that dip, but it was defended very, very aggressively this weekend. So basically $300 flat is a very aggressive defense point for Tau. It looks like, just if I'm looking at this from about backed up point here. Yeah, I mean, anything in the $200 range, I think is a very, very snazzy pickup on Potential Tau. Good project. You know, I don't think the AI pump's done, but picking the right AI product, very difficult, but Tau is one of them. That's like, yeah, that's a good AI project. Aerodrome down to 80 cents, is down 3% on the week. Still riding high off of that nice pump though. Let's check out Aerodrome and see where it's at. Rolling back down to the top end of this channel, coming in at around 78 cents. Needs to defend that in the short term for sure. It'd be absolutely wonderful to see us defend that short term and build this as that next level of support. So, basement is just insane in the membrane. You ain't lying, bro. We are a little insane in the membrane. David Middleton, I know, baby. We were covering Aave a long time ago. Here it is. It's all about the current levels of support and resistance. You know, it's all about that. And if you can identify those, that's where the real power in getting low entry points comes into play, because then you don't end up aggravated if it's only, 2x its midterm highs. You didn't buy the top of the last high and now you're underwater regardless of that. And I think a lot of the sentiment of bearishness on the markets comes from people that are what I call top blasting. And really it's just a situation where you just got to be patient. You have to be patient. The market moves in a very volatile manner. It moves up and down heavily. As you can see in the short time of 3 days, we went from $98,000 up to $108,000 we peaked at this morning. So things can change very, very quickly. It's about finding good entry points, not getting chopped up, not getting discouraged enough so where you lose that buying power, and don't top blast. For the love of God, stop top blasting things. And you know what? The only thing that's okay to round trip in this market, in my opinion, is Bitcoin. So take your profits along the way. I love and appreciate every single one of you out there. Guys, stay based. This market's getting wild right now. It is getting hot and heavy, so you have to stay focused. This is where the chop will come in. It'll freaking psyop people out of the markets. and then things will absolutely explode later on in this market. I think 150, 170 feels very, very strong as far as where the general movement of this market expectation, in my opinion, is. If we can get very lucky, then I could see Bitcoin blasting up to the 200K realm, but it's going to be choppy. Institutions are in control. Just stay focused, man, and know where this movement is going in general. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Isaac, it was fantastic having you on the show again.
Sure.
You know,
Just so I let the people know, I'll be here tomorrow. Won't be here Friday.
Okay. Okay.
Just to let the people know why I'm
More
gone
testing
again.
going on
More
Friday, right?
more testing, and I swear and take the oath.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? God bless. God bless. And yes, Drag Dubs, we discussed the MasterCard Chainlink partnership yesterday. If you missed that, go check out yesterday. And I'll probably do some shorts and some more content on that Chainlink integration. It's a pretty big deal. Just a lot going on in the world. So until next time, I bid you adieu. Peace out, y'all.
You're back.